According to the FAA, 557 flights landed on the wrong surface between 2016 and 2018. Among them, 89% occurred during daytime, and 91% occurred with a visibility of more than 3 miles. A small misunderstanding or mistake could take the life of hundreds of people.
300 at 16, runway 31 left, clear fly.
On July 7, 2017, Air Canada Flight 759, carrying 140 passengers and crew, narrowly missed 4 planes stopped on the taxiway as it was landing at San Francisco Airport. Air Canada Flight 759 was given clearance to land on runway 28 right, but the aircraft lined up to land on the parallel taxiway of the landing runway in use. There were 4 aircraft on the taxiway at that time, 2 Boeing 787, 1 Boeing 737 and an Airbus 340. All aircraft were waiting to take off from runway 28 right. The captain of United Airlines, Flight 1, was watching Flight 759 coming to land, and he realized that it was aligned with the taxiway. At that time he transmitted a warning on the tower frequency, which was received by the Air Canada pilot. At the same time, the pilots of Philippine Airlines Flight 115 turned on their landing lights, making their aircraft more visible. The combination of these 2 acts were sufficient for the Air Canada pilots to realize something was wrong. At that point close to the ground, the pilot pulls back up the plane to the sky by initiating a go-around. If Air Canada Flight 759 had landed, it could have been the greatest aviation disaster in history. On February 10, 2010, a KLM Boeing 737 was performing a flight from Amsterdam to Warsaw. ATC gave clearance to take off from runway 36 center, but it actually took off from the taxiway Bravo, which is parallel to the runway. The airplane continued to Warsaw and landed safely. Later on, Amsterdam Airport confirmed the incident in a press release. The ATC informed the KLM crew while it was climbing. The crew replied that they were unaware they had taken off from a taxiway. On November 27, 2010, Fener Airbus A340 was cleared by ATC to taxi on taxiway Bravo for departure from runway 7 left. When the aircraft was approaching the end of the taxiway Bravo, the ATC cleared the aircraft for takeoff from runway 07 left. The aircraft took the normal right turn at the end of the taxiway Bravo, but took another right turn onto taxiway Alpha and started its takeoff roll. The ATC noticed the aircraft initiating the takeoff roll from taxiway Alpha and immediately instructed the pilot to reject the takeoff, and the aircraft was stopped abeam taxiway Alpha 5. On December 19, 2015, Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 was performing a flight from Chicago to Seattle with 153 people on board. The aircraft was on an ILS approach to runway 16 right and cleared to land. Later, the ATC offered the crew to land on the runway 16 center, and the crew accepted the runway change clearance, but aligned with taxiway Tango, which is in between runway 16 right and runway 16 center. The aircraft continued for a safe landing on taxiway Tango around 8:30 in the morning. On October 19, 2009, Delta Airlines Boeing 767 was performing a flight from Rio de Janeiro to Atlanta, with 183 passengers and 12 crew members on board. The crew declared a medical emergency when they were approaching to Atlanta. The crew activated the approach and received the clearance to land on runway 27 right. The visibility was good, but the aircraft touched down on taxiway Mike. There was no other traffic on the taxiway. The runway lights were turned on, the approach lights and ILS were unserviceable. A Hong Kong Airlines Boeing 737 initiated the takeoff from Hong Kong Airport taxiway in the early morning of September 13, 2008. There were 103 passengers, 5 cabin crew and 2 pilots on board the aircraft. ATC instructed the pilots to abort the takeoff. One of the pilots has reportedly claimed that he never planned to take off from the taxiway and that he was just taxiing at a high speed, but the authorities reject the pilot report and claimed that the aircraft was rolling on the taxiway at the takeoff speed. On September 6, 2019, a Transavia Boeing 737 was taxiing on taxiway Charlie at Amsterdam Airport. Taxiway Charlie is located parallel to the runway 18 center. The taxiway Delta is also parallel to the runway 18 center and located between taxiway Charlie and runway 18 center. During the taxi, the crew was instructed to line up on runway 18 center and was cleared for takeoff. The crew turned on to taxiway Delta and commenced the takeoff roll. The ATC informed the crew about their position on the taxiway. Later on, the aircraft took off normally from the runway and headed towards its destination. The number of aircrafts is increasing day by day and also becoming safer. But the critical phases of the flight still need more attention. Thanks for watching, and please give a thumbs up if the video was interesting, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos.